So CNN Plus, I'm sure you've heard of it. And now we're not going to hear much about it anymore because it came, it went, it didn't conquer. CNN Plus streaming service will shut down weeks after its start, roughly 4 weeks after its start. The numbers on CNN Plus are amazing, not in a good way. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to handle it from a reasonable approach. This was a terrible business plan right from the get-go. But CNN just, let's plow ahead, let's do it. And then there's the buyout, and then the new ownership and new management basically said, yeah, we're going to need to rethink and reimagine this business strategy, as in you're fired. Done. Game over. That's literally what we're talking about today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies here in Seattle. And why wouldn't I read news for reasonable people? All right, this is going to be a fun one. We're just going to beat a dead horse. We're just going to kick it while it's down because yeah. At sunset on last Monday of March, CNN stars gathered for a gala affair on the 101st floor of a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper to celebrate the launch of CNN Plus. If you don't know what it is, it's a streaming service. Okay. You pay a little bit of money each month. CNN Plus, you pay $3, introductory rate, $6 when it gets going. $10, $12. What is Netflix now? $12, $15 a month. So you got all these streaming services. CNN Plus is jumping in because why not? I mean, their ratings as is were so stellar. CNN's ratings have been tanking. So they were gathered there to celebrate the launch of CNN Plus, the streaming service that was supposed to take the network into the digital future. It did for 4 weeks. And then, no, you guys are done. We reimagined and rethought. Oh, you're done. Hawke, who directed a film for CNN Plus. I like Hawke. He's a good actor. He's had some great stuff. Hawke. Who directed a film for CNN Plus, Mingled with Anderson Cooper. Oh, there we go. And Bernstein. Oh, wow, now we're talking. As guests nibbled on miniature lobster rolls and gawked at the dizzying views of the New York City skyline. It took 3 weeks for CNN's new owners to bring them down to earth. As in, we're no longer continuing this business venture. In a move that stunned the media and tech worlds, Warner Brothers Discovery said on yesterday, that it will abruptly shut down CNN Plus on April 30th. So we are roughly today, April 22nd. So they gave them a little over a week, just boom, done. And they'd invested like $300 million into this. While today's decision is incredibly difficult, it's the right one for the long-term success of CNN. In other words, this isn't going to make any money. We've already buried $300 million in costs on this bad boy, and it is not a viable product. So what happened is CNN ran with this, and they basically had their president. He got kind of booted out. We had all kinds of stuff going on, and this project just kind of kept going along, and then it launched, and the new ownership, the parent company, they weren't basically able to say, hey, we're going to cut this. So they let it run for a few weeks. And it must have been one of those things where, let's just see what happens here. Good Lord, those are the numbers. I mean, that had to have come in an emergency meeting because they've got so few subscribers. As of April 19, they've had 150,000 subscribers. Now you do the math at 150,000 subscribers at $3 a pop. I mean, that is really good for an individual. That'd be really good for an individual. You could make good money off that. That's per month. You make $450,000 a month. Solid money, but not after you've invested $300 million and you've got several hundred people working on this and the ongoing costs. This is a massive, massive loser. And even at the $6, the normal price, and the $3 a month for CNN Plus was their introductory rate. that you would get if you kept it going. $6 a month. So you got 900 grand a month, and you've spent 300 million, and your 900 grand, does that even cover your monthly operating costs? Probably not. Not even close. Because you've got some of these quasi-celebrities. You've got like Chris Wallace, Mike Wallace's kid in there. Eva Longoria, from Desperate Housewives. She's got to be making $1 million a year, right? I don't know. I don't know what she's making, but zero now, right? So in a move that stunned the media and tech world, Warner Brothers Discovery said on Thursday that it will abruptly shut down CNN Plus on April 30th. While today's decision is incredibly difficult, no, it wasn't. You looked at the numbers and you said, oh, this is a no-go. While today's decision is incredibly difficult, it is the right one for the long-term success of CNN, Chris 𝐏𝐞𝐸, the network's incoming president, told staff. The shutdown is a brutal end to an operation into which CNN sank hundreds, not tens of millions of dollars, from a nationwide marketing campaign to hundreds of newly hired employees to big contracts for the name brand anchors, including the former Fox News Sunday host Chris Wallace and the former NPR co-host Audie Cornish. I do not know who that is, and I don't care. It's national propaganda radio, right? So every now and then there will be like one topic somebody will send me for NPR, and I'm like, oh, okay, that seems like they were almost unbiased in that one. But for the most part, it is so far left-leaning, I can't do it. It collapsed just 2 days after Netflix reported a quarterly decline in subscriptions for the first time in a decade, a potential warning sign for major media companies joining the increasingly crowded field of streaming services. I've talked about this before. How many effing streaming services do we need? It looks like one less, right? One less. I have Netflix. I think I have HBO Plus. I've got Prime, but I do that for the shopping. Because I need to get that stuff today with Amazon Prime. I need that in my life today. So you got Amazon Prime, a bunch of other stuff. But I think what's happening is with the inflation that's going on, people are recognizing, you know what? That grocery store, they're picking up groceries and going, holy cow, this is more expensive. And they're doing this across the board. But if groceries are costing 10, 20, 30 bucks more a month, guess what? That is 10, 20 bucks. There's one or two streaming services, maybe 3 streaming services. If you do like a Hulu is 12 bucks. There's another couple, I think at like maybe $6. But you get what I'm saying is if people are on a budget and they're like, all right, we've got 2 streaming services already. And this is literally first world problems, right? If you're really hunkered down and trying to cut things out, you don't have a bunch of streaming services and cable. But if you are, you might, in groceries and budget, you're like, oh yeah, this is really crunching the budget. This inflation that we've got going on, prices are up. Grocery store prices are way up. Gas. How much more are we spending at the gas pump? A lot. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. And so people are looking at that. And if there's another optional thing, yeah, we're going to cut that. CNN Plus, they just never picked it up, right? They just never went to it. And also, okay, let's take a quick peek. You're going to laugh when you hear some of these things. I know you have no idea what's on CNN Plus. I didn't either. So that's why I'm going to tell you. Inquiring minds need to know, right? So here's the live weekday schedule. 5 things with Kate Bolduan. 8 a.m. we have Go There. 9 a.m. we have The Big Picture with Sarah somebody. 10 a.m. we've got Reliable Sources Daily. 4 p.m. we go to the Source with Casey Hunt. Who are these people and what are they doing? The Global Brief with Bianca Nobilo. All right, that's simulcast with CNN. So part of the problem with this is original content that nobody cares about and wants to watch, and they also can't stream the live news because of these contracts, these broadcast contracts. They can't. So it really has no benefit other than at 6 p.m. if you want to watch Who's Talking to Chris Wallace. His dad was great, Mike Wallace. I enjoyed Mike Wallace. Just did. Maybe I just didn't know enough to know what his agenda was, but I remember seeing Mike Wallace in 60 Minutes in high school thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I can live with that. But Who's Talking to Chris Wallace? Oh, and then 7:30, we've got the newscast with Wolf Blitzer. Remember back when Wolf Blitzer used to actually go on site and report from wars? I remember always Wolf Blitzer being on. But that was also when like CNN was cranking up. And it was exciting because you didn't get just like the 6 o'clock news. It's like, I can tune into CNN and I can watch the world go into war at 11 p.m. at night. I can get a live stream of what's going on. This is awesome. That was me. Now we've just got so many of these and people are like, I don't think so. All right, the weekly schedule. Let's jump into this for just 1 second. Here, bear with me. We've got Boss Files with Poppy Harlow, Anderson Cooper, Full Circle Jerk. Oh, that's just Full Circle. Sorry. No Mercy, No Malice with Scott Galloway, Parental Guidance with Anderson Cooper. I'm sorry. This says Parental Guidance with Anderson Cooper. I'm not misreading that either. All right. We've got Jake Tapper's Book Club. We've got Rex Chapman, and we've got the Don Lemon Show. You can imagine how stellar that is. That is literally what they've got going on. Even if you're a diehard CNN fan, I don't think this is enough to make you go out of your way and go, okay, yep, I'm spending that $3. I'm getting that introductory offer because this is something I need in my life. They're just not. And clearly they said that. So let's jump back. And the abrupt demise of CNN Plus, as well as Netflix projection that it will lose 2 million more subscribers over the next 3 months, has raised questions about, is streaming viable down the road? I think it is, but you have to have a niche product and you have to be able to withstand a bunch of storms rolling over. And if your corporate isn't able to support you, and you know what, with that lineup, I don't think anybody can support you. That's a crappy lineup. There's no reason for people to want to spend money. And out of all the people that are out there that support CNN, 150,000 subscribed, that's peanuts. I mean, you got YouTube subscribers that are all day long past that. So, this kind of really shows this was a product that it should have never been brought to the marketplace in its current development. It's just terrible. I mean, there's no other way to say it. But the service had a powerful skeptic, and that was David 𝐍𝐸𝐬𝐷, the chief executive of Discovery, who was on the verge of completing a merger with Warner Media that would put him in control of the news network. So Discovery merged with Warner, and so they've got this, they own a whole bunch of companies, and CNN's one of them that's in there now, along with ESPN, Hulu, and somebody else, I think. So executives at Discovery, wary of antitrust rules, were constrained from advising their counterparts at CNN until the merger was done. So this is something that's been in development. And so the new management came in, executives at Discovery, and they weren't able to say, hey guys, cut this one. We're not going out with this one. And so they just let it run for like basically 3 weeks. CNN Plus had lost its champion when Mr. Zucker left in February because of an undisclosed romantic relationship with a colleague. I call BS on that one. Those people, I looked at that. I've researched that. Mr. Zucker, he had an out in the open relationship with another woman at work. And neither one of them was married, I don't think. So they're dating. Okay. So it's not like anybody's going behind anybody else's back. Not that I could figure out. It was just that they needed a reason to kick Mr. Zucker out. And that's the one they took. And he must have had some kind of payout. I don't know. But that one there, that makes no sense, but it all has to do with what's going on here. And, maybe they let him go based on the fact that, hey, CNN Plus is going. We need this to be able to kill this deal. I don't know. But that is not the reason that he was let go. There's something else going on there. I don't know what it is. It'll come out in a book in 6 months and we'll talk about it. But Jason Kilar, the Warner Media chief executive, he forged ahead anyway with this, launching the streaming platform on March 29th to the frustration of the Discovery leadership. It quickly became apparent that Mr. 𝐍𝐸𝐬𝐷 had a very different view on digital streaming. On the morning of April 11th, the first business day of Discovery's ownership, and 90 minutes before the Warner Brothers Discovery stock even went live on NASDAQ, they had a meeting with CNN executives. Mr. Peretti had a message. Marketing of CNN Plus was to be suspended. This is April 11th, right? So this is when we kind of got word of, oh, yeah. All right. Marketing of CNN is to be suspended pending a formal review of the business. 3 people familiar with the conversation said. So there's been rumors about this. Hey, CNN Plus not doing well. On Wednesday, I had heard, CNN Plus is going to be shut down, but it can't be confirmed yet. That kind of stuff goes on all the time. People on the right saying, well, that crappy left-wing media outlet, they should go down. So, rumors get started and you don't want to say anything until it's finally done. But as of yesterday, it is cooked and done. So executives at Warner Brothers Discovery wanted to merge its other subscription platforms, Discovery Plus and HBO Max, into one giant streaming service. Because if you have a bunch of crappy ones, it's kind of like a tranche when you put together a mortgage-backed security. And if you throw some crappy ones in there with the good ones, you get the pricing of the good ones to kind of lift it up a little, right? So they were not convinced that a niche product like CNN Plus could be viable on its own. And you know what? They were right. And there was the matter of the debt. Discovery's merger left the conglomerate owing about $55 billion, which executives are now under pressure to repay, as you are when you sign on a loan and take on a little debt to make the merger go. And all right, now we have to perform. CNN Plus, 150,000 subscribers in its first month. That is not good. Ixnay on the CNN Plus nay. CNN had been planning to spend more than $1 billion on CNN over 4 years. $1 billion. In big media terms, not enormous numbers, but pretty damn big. I mean, that's a lot of cash, especially when you're looking at the debt service of $55 billion. Every billion counts at this point, right? So, $1 billion on CNN over 4 years is what they were going to invest. 2 people familiar with the matter said, even renting out an additional floor of the pricey Manhattan skyscraper. Well, you need that. I mean, you gotta look fancy. If you're going to have a successful subscription service, you don't worry about your content. Just have a fancy office, big views, be good. Andrew Morse, CNN's chief digital officer and a key architect of CNN Plus, who became the biggest internal champion of the service, countered that subscription-based online news could be successful, citing the New York Times as an example. Executives at CNN, but CNN, the New York Times, that happened quite a bit earlier, as I remember, when we didn't have all these streaming services. And we also didn't have inflation raging at the rate it is now. Executives at CNN Plus said that they had secured 150,000 paying subscribers, and they were on pace to hit first-year subscription goals. Well, they must not have been very lofty because, you need way more than that to make this go. So as the corporate tug of war played out, CNN Plus anchors tried to go about their jobs. On his daily interview hour, Mr. Wallace questioned Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, about federal mask policy, did some other stuff. And then all that came to a halt on Thursday morning. It's not your fault that you had the rug pulled out from underneath you, Mr. Licht, CNN's new president, told the shocked staff during a solemn all-hands meeting, according to a recording reviewed by the New York Times. Mr. Litt, who officially started his role on May 2nd, compared CNN Plus. Mr. Litt, who officially starts his role on May 2nd. So he hasn't even officially started yet. And he's coming in and just, you know what? You're fired. He compared CNN Plus to a residential property that had been constructed without the input of its intended owner. That is nonsense. That is just so nonsense. Then the new owner came in and said, what a beautiful house, but I need an apartment, he said, according to the recording. And that doesn't take anything away from this beautiful house you built. I am proud of it, and I am proud of this team, and I am gutted by what this means for you. Let's take that to a real residential comparison in real estate. It's when somebody builds a really custom home that nobody else wants, like CNN Plus built a product that really nobody wanted in a viable manner. If you're a listing agent, if you're going to list the home for a seller that's poured their heart and soul and $300 million into this home, figuratively, and it's just, in their words, it's gorgeous. It's their dream home, but they got to sell. They got relocated. They got to move to Iowa. And so they're selling their home in Seattle, and the listing agent tells them, this house is gorgeous. You did a spectacular job. But, you know, the market here isn't understanding just what a great home you have. Therefore, we need to drop it by 100 grand, and that's for 2 weeks. And if it doesn't go, then we need to drop it by 150 grand. But you got a stellar home. This is a beautiful home. Don't let anybody say that it's not. That's what's going on. Hey, the market said, this is a shitty product. Sorry, guys, you're done. All right. So more than 300 employees had already started working at CNN Plus, as they do. And the network said it would try to transfer them to, yeah, we don't care. Let's go look and see. Let's check out this one. Fox News hosts, right-wingers take ugly victory lap over death of CNN Plus. Let's see what people said. So people said, in a statement, Trump mocked CNN Plus as an empty desert and blamed it for spending hundreds of millions of dollars in the hiring of low-rated Chris Wallace, a man who tried so hard to be his father, Mike, but lacked the talent and whatever else is necessary to be a star. Those are kind of harsh words, and yet true, right? They're true. And if this guy was a star, maybe he would have carried more people into this network. But they didn't really have any great stars. It was a network that just never really got going because it shouldn't have. It was a bad business model. It just didn't make sense. Donald Trump Jr., the former president's eldest son, shared this meme, and it's a bunch of guys carrying in very formal. They're carrying a coffin, and there's some music, and on the front of the coffin it says CNN Plus, and they're doing a little dance as the coffin goes by. So we've got Boohoo, no more lectures on TV. That was from Tucker Carlson. Yeah, that was. And then the funny one that I thought was Fox News' Greg Gutfeld, meanwhile, said, the Democratic bench is thinner than Chris Wallace's demo reel from CNN Plus. That's a good one because obviously there's no real demo reel for any of these folks coming out of CNN Plus. You might have had one or two good shows, maybe, but yeah, I mean, it's just done. So we had a bunch of other people. How about Fox's Brian Kilmeade said, even Tom Brady's retirement lasted longer than CNN Plus. It's so true. It was so quick. But it was one of those things that was ill-conceived. It didn't do well, and it got taken to the mat, and you guys are done. So there's that. A lot of people are pointing at this and saying, well, it's because, you know, the left-wing media outlets, they're having a tough time because their content is crap. It is crap at times, and it is not good reporting. You can say that about, you know, some of the stuff on the right as well, that it's opinion pieces and it's their opinions and it may not necessarily reflect reality. But so much of what I see on CNN is just like, really? That's how you're interpreting this event? Because I'm seeing things wildly differently. And, you know, that's kind of where we sit. But the marketplace is saying that Fox is just absolutely destroying any other competition. Fox Nation. I mean, you can't avoid the numbers. Facts don't care about your feelings. You always throw that one out there because it's funny, because it makes sense. But you've got this issue where CNN has not been doing well. And that's because they lost Trump as their punching bag in the in the center of their, that was what carried them for 4 years, is just ripping on Trump. Every single story was, oh, Trump tweeted out this. He basically made their network for 4 years. And now they're still trying to do it, even though he's not on Twitter. And it's not going well. And so, you know, you've got other folks that are doing very well and their businesses continue to grow. And, you know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, CNN Plus, it is not anymore. I don't know a single person that got CNN Plus. A lot of people didn't even know it shut down that I've talked to. Did you hear about CNN Plus? What? What's that? Exactly. There you go. All right. That's it for me on this one. Yeah. CNN Plus. It's done. Put a fork in it. All right. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.